Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to
Finish Big.
Yes, we are listening our way through all of Big Finish, from beginning to end, from Doctor Who to Fly Me to the Moon, to Earth Search, and everything in between.
And we are in between today.
Are we?
Yes, we are. Well, we're in between main ranges.
Oh, of course, it's a new spin-off.
That's right.
Yes, Gallifrey. And what better person to join us than Luke Malloy, our biggest hoe, our regular hoe.
Biggest hoe, and for once actually lost on Gallifrey.
Oh!
Now, I'm going to be honest, Luke, I'm a little bit scared because I do remember the little précis that you gave before you gave your opinion on Neverland. You went, well, the signs aren't good. It's all set on Gallifrey. It's too long. It's full of technobabble. And basically that's this series. And you said those all as negatives before. So, I don't know. And you've been keeping your powder dry.
Yeah, but on that Neverland one, that was my first listen of Neverland. And actually on that podcast, I was like, I love it now. It's great.
No.
So anything could happen.
Well, we've got our timonic fusion devices ready to do whatever it needs to be done.
I'm just back from the Planet Gryben doing my diplomatic negotiations.
Well, I'll tell you the stories that we're talking about today, and they are Weapon of Choice,
Free time!
Square One,
What is an exotic dancer, K9?
The Inquiry,
At least I'm doing something while we let the universe decay in front of us.
and A Blind Eye.
It's my best India Fisher. I am a shallow person. What is there left for me but...
Well, that makes up Series 1 of Gallifrey. But before we go into the stories one by one, shall we just talk about sort of Gallifrey as a series, as a concept, as one of these earlier Big Finish spin-offs? So it's sort of come out of Zagreus, hasn't it, that Romana and Leela were paired up in that story with a view, I think, for this series to come along. I mean, would we be excited about a Gallifrey series?
It's so hard for me to say because I've joined as a Big Finish fan where there's just thousands of sort of Time Wars and all them sort of Gallifrey. So there's never been a lack of Gallifrey. I think I'm bearing that in mind as we go in to talk about this. I can only imagine at the time coming out of the classic series, then you get loads of sort of, main range stories, and then you get this new spin-off. Like, it must have been really exciting.
Well, I don't know if it was for me straight away, because it's just the idea of Gallifrey doesn't necessarily excite me. Like, Gallifrey, like you say, Gallifrey's been around a long time in Big Finish now, but you've never wanted to pick up the series then. It's not been something that you've...
I think when I was like 14, and I did mention this when we did Omega, I was just obsessed with that Time Lord mythology. We all go through that stage of being a fan where we go through the wiki or we go through books to find out like where the origins of the Time Lords come from and what Gallifrey's all about. So maybe at that time I would have been like, yeah, series set on Gallifrey, that's the one. But I think if I'd listened to this at that time, I'm not sure I would have liked it.
Then you realise there were like 11 seasons. You're like, fuck that. I'm sorry. I can't put all my pocket money on this.
Well, the thing with Gallifrey for me is it depends. I mean, I do, spoiler, I do enjoy this series, but I'm surprised I do, because Gallifrey, when you see all of the stuff that's been done on TV and it's all the politics, it's sort of Doctor Who doing other sci-fi shows like Star Trek and all that, and that's not why I like Doctor Who with all of that kind of stuff. It sort of sums up all the stuff that I don't really like in other sci-fi shows. So I am surprised that I like this.
Do you know what it is? Actually, it is, and this is probably why you shouldn't like it. It reminds me of the political episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Exactly, yeah.
A stationary setting, lots of aliens, lots of politicking, lots of sort of twists and turns and labyrinthine plotting, which isn't usually your bag at all. I mean, I thought the idea of a Gallifrey series when they said it was coming out sounded absolutely ghastly. Because, you know, I despise Arc of Infinity, I don't like Invasion of Time, I'm a bit of Deadly Assassin these days as well. So Gallifrey just isn't my thing, and not even in the new series as well. They really up my interest. But what I think works here is it takes some of the best elements of Gallifrey, and that is the characters. You've got Romana there, you've got Leela there, who has left, you've got two K9s there, and that's just fun, and you've got Bractiatel, who you might not know too well, but we know really well from the Bernie Summerfield spin-off. So you've got a set of regulars already there on the planet who are really interested and really well played. So fuck the fact that it's Gallifrey, it's a great group of people to hang out with. That's why I like it.
But even though Gallifrey, isn't great in the classic series on the screen or whatever, it is still like the Doctor's own planet. You can tap something out of that, and all these people that go, the Gallifrey means that you're going to tell a boring story. I don't agree with that. Find an interesting one there. This generally works as a spin-off because you've got spin-off characters, because you've got characters that you know in it. It's the reason that one of the reasons Class doesn't work, because there's no character.
One of the reasons.
And like, as much as people don't like Torchwood or can have a little dig at Torchwood, it definitely works as a spin-off because you've got a main Doctor Who character leading it. Same with the Sarah Jane Adventures. So for a spin-off to work, I think you do need that. It's going to be interesting to see how the war between the land and the sea, if that works,
spin-off, yeah,
because that has got no immediate Kate Stewart. I know I'm talking to the biggest Kate Stewart fan here, but
and the worst Kate Stewart fans.
But yeah, that's an interesting one. But yeah,
can I ask you though? Is it like the whole thing about Gallifrey tickling your testicles? Is that because it's like, is it the lore that excites you, like the mythology?
Yeah, I think so. It was always like, it's always trying to uncover that mystery of Doctor Who, isn't it? When you're a bit younger, until you realise, like, don't do that. You've got to like bathe in the mystery and not go searching for it. But the more you can be teased, that's good. So yeah, like, that's not really this, and that's not really Gallifrey, is it?
Although there is something in this season that directly references Time Lord interference in a Fourth Doctor story. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah.
What is that?
In the Inquiry, the third episode, they mention the minions of Minos and how the effects of that episode affected Underworld. You know, I can understand why you can't remember that story, but like,
we'll talk about the minions of Minos.
Right.
Well, let's talk about the first story then. So that is Weapon of Choice, which was released in March 2004. So this story, along with this whole series, stars Lalla Ward back as Romana, Louise Jameson, Leela, John Leeson as K9 1 and 2. And it also sets up our series regulars. So we've got Sean Carson as Narvin.
Oh, I must tell you about the Narvinites later. All right, let's back that, but I'll tell you about that.
We've got Andy Coleman as Torvald. We've got Hugo Myatt as Arcadian, Miles Richardson as Braxiatel, and then this story features Helen Goldwyn as Nepenthe.
Time!
And this also features a cameo from Linda Bellingham as Inquisitor Darkle.
Oh man, who goes on to have a huge role in the second and third series.
Later on.
Villainess of Lady President Romana.
Yeah, so Weapon of Choice, it's got a lot to do because it needs to set up this whole series. And this introduces a lot of what's going on Gallifrey at the moment. So we have President Romana, we have Leela, who at this point has been on Gallifrey for a long time, and she sort of getting fed up, I feel, of being there. Andred has gone missing. So she is sort of casting herself out and being sort of... Is it with the Shobogans? Sort of. She's going out there with the Shobogans.
Yeah, she's out there.
The quote here is, she goes, "When I am outside the city..." Stay that again. The quote here is, "When I am inside the city..." The quote here is, "When I am inside the city..." Oh, for fuck's sake. Please let me get this out.
Carry on.
"When I am inside the city..."
Sorry.
"When I'm inside the city, that feels like outside to me." Leave the room.
Right, okay.
Can I try that again?
Well, no, so Leela's outcast, out the city or wherever she is.
I'm gonna piss myself. Okay, come on.
And we have this free time movement. So Gallifrey is part of this
The temporal powers.
sort of EU of temporal powers, aren't they? All like the planets and what am I talking about? Planets and universes that have time travel technology. All
That's
these different
right.
races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Monan host, the Nekistapians. That's all the ones I can remember. But basically, they're all represented by squeaky voices.
Yeah, but then there is this organisation, this sort of terrorist organisation called Free Time. And, I mean, this is how complicated some of the plots are. I'm trying to work out how to explain this. But they don't want Gallifrey to control a lot of the time travel stuff.
Yeah.
Because they are still sort of like the number one power, aren't they? And they've got like these checkpoints. And Gribon is a planet, which is like a checkpoint for... You sort of have to have your passport to travel in time, sort of thing. I mean,
It's like your gateway to Europe, you know?
Yeah.
In order to go into the time vortex, you have to go to Gribon. That's where you come in and out, basically.
And then Gribon's got temporal refugees on, hasn't it? So people that have time traveled and then they've bumped into basically like security at the airport, and then they've got nowhere to go, so they've picked them to this planet called Gribon. But then someone on Gribon has the Time Lord super weapon, which is the
Harmonic fusion device.
And so Romana, well, Leela and Romana sort of got to go and retrieve it. That's the basic idea.
Yeah, so this device has gone missing. It's sort of being stolen by one of the other races. And then there's a whole question, did it exist? It's sort of a myth, a legend that this thing even existed. Leela gets involved because she sends her on like a secret... Romana sends her on a secret mission to go down onto Gribon to talk to the locals and find out what's going on. I mean,
we all sound so sure of the plot here, don't we?
But the thing is, with Weapon of Choice, I feel like it's the most difficult one in this series to sort of crack. Once you've sort of got through this one,
I thought this one quite easily.
I always found this quite difficult to get into it. And once you have got into it and got past it, and it's all set up, then the rest of the series is a bit easier.
I thought the literal opposite. I thought this was the easiest to follow.
Yeah, I agree.
Really?
I agree. Because basically, all you need to know about this story is they're all going down onto this planet. They need to find out where this timonic fusion device is, because it is, and I quote, a napalm of the timeline. So it will literally
That's a great line.
It's a great line, yeah. And it sort of shows you just how catastrophic it would be if this thing went off. So they're trying to figure out where the hell this thing is, who's using it, and of all things, to stop the terrorists getting their hands on it, who want, the timelines to be free, a place free of restrictions and laws and rules. It's basically the Brexiteers of the timelines.
I got all of that stuff, but then you've got all that with Narvin and Braxiatel and all the sort of stuff that's going on Gallifrey, and you've got a bit of the Torvald stuff starting to happen as well. I felt there was just a lot to take on if you're starting a new series. I just felt there was just too much happening for me for this one.
Interesting.
I disagree because I think actually they're setting up a lot of plots and they're expecting the listener to not be that person that wants, death to the Daleks again, but actually to have to sit and pay attention and listen to all this information that's coming at you. And actually, all four of these, the third one I got a bit confused with, but all four of these actually were quite tightly constructed plots in their own right, as well as telling an arc throughout the series. This is like the anti-Divergent universe for me, where that just felt like things were happening for whatever reason without direction. There's a clear meaning to deliver mysteries in this first episode. The device, where did it come from? Free time, who's behind that? Where has Andred gone? And by the fourth episode, all of that stuff is answered. So I think, actually, in terms of structuring a series, this sets up the mystery as well. It is the mysterious planet of this season.
I agree. I thought this was a good story. You had to concentrate on quite hard at times, but for all, I did enjoy this one. I'm still so reserved on it. I thought the idea of the temple refugees I thought was great. I really liked that people have sort of fallen through time, and then these sort of overlords, the Time Lords, and the other people that control it have just sort of shifted them off to a planet. That really intrigued me. Thought the mystery of where Andred's gone is a great underlying background mystery. That's a good solid like background arc that is going to get resolved at some point. But that I really enjoyed that. Romana, I thought was great in this. That speech she gives at the end, she has a big speech at the end where she is calming down the person with the timonic fusion device, and she gives it a proper fierce gusto speech, which I thought was much better than that indeterminable one from the Saigon inversion, where the doctors tried to calm them down from the box. So yeah, I liked all that bit. I was listening to this trying to grasp what the point and what the premise of this series was, because that's what a pilot episode should do. It should sell you on what it is. My answer here was that it's the president of Gallifrey sorting out political problems on a universal scale with Leela as her bodyguard, which I think is solid enough as a.
You think that's got legs?
I think that's solid enough as a series, yeah. Because you've got the two aspects, haven't you? You've got Leela dealing with the political stuff. Romana dealing with the political stuff, and Leela, who you can send out on little scout missions and stuff, which is sort of what happens in the next story.
And I think, don't you think their relationship, I think it's really well done on the grounds of Lala Ward and Louise Jameson both have great chemistry together. But because they're polar opposites, but they utterly respect each other. And she respects that Leela is smart, if not intelligent. And she respects that she might be a Time Lord, but she's reliable. I just think it's a great relationship.
I think it's the reason why Jago and Lightfoot works as well. It's that class thing, but on an alien scale. Someone Lightfoot is the Romana, and Jago's obviously the Leela.
Could they have called this Leela and Romana?
It would have been more fun. And I think
Gallifrey.
I think that is an issue. Well, I don't really listen to loads and loads of Big Finish. There's certain ones, but this whole series, I would never choose to listen to this.
Go on, say why.
Because of how hard you've got to work. So this, for me, was the easiest one to get my head around, and the one that made the most sense on listening. But it starts to get worse for me. This one is my favourite of the series.
Oh my god! Wow,
interesting. It's not my favourite of the season, but I
have no conception of what the fan opinion is on this, or Mark's opinion, who is the fan. I don't actually know any of the writers of any of the episodes, so I didn't even have sort of writer bias on this.
Well, this one, yeah. So this is Alan Barnes. This one.
Okay. See, I would have thought Alan Barnes had done like episode 3. That really.
No, that's Justin Richards, episode 3. And episode 2 is Stephen Cole. I can't remember who did episode 4.
I think that was Alan Barnes again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
so
topping and toe in the season.
I think maybe they're just sort of about an hour and 10 all the episodes. So I think maybe they could have been a little bit shorter. You do have to concentrate. You can't just put this on in the background and sort of listen. You really need to sit there and concentrate. For me, anyway.
That's the double whammy as well. Is that my other issue with this? It ties into the whole what is Gallifrey? Is it? This is quite a lot of it is stuffy Time Lords doing stuffy Time Lordy things, and I just hate them. Narvin is everything I hate in Time Lords and Gallifrey personified, really. And nothing to do with his performance or anything like that. It's just that sort of character and attitude about the Time Lords I just really don't like, because there's no believability that these people can run the universe. Romana maybe, but
will you listen to more of these or not?
No, unless you absolutely force me to.
Well, no. The reason I'm saying that is because Narvin goes on an enormous character journey.
Oh no, he pops up in Dark Eyes 3 because
come series sort of 4 and 5. He is absolutely one of the heroes of the series, and he just goes on this massive journey of trying to take her down, to realizing actually she's doing the right thing, to being one of the stalwarts of the series by the end. So they do sort of play a long game with that character. I said to him here, I can't believe he's such an arsehole this season.
But I like, because you don't know what side he's on really throughout the whole thing. Who is on Romana's side? Who isn't? Who is sort of doing stuff behind her back? There's all of that. Because Braxia tells us, well, you're never 100% sure. And
That's
who can she trust?
He's deliberately ambiguous, Braxia.
Yeah, but I find them all a bit like that.
So, yeah, this is another key issue in the series for me. But it'll be exactly why people like it. So what I don't like about it is exactly what people will like. In every episode, every character was sneaky, and they always had an ulterior motive. Every single one of them. So I'm sort of sat there just not believing anything that they're saying or doing, because I know 20 minutes from the end they're all going to have their own secret agendas, and it happened every single time. Romana,
my problem with the Witch is familiar.
Well, yeah, no, I do, but I mean that's a one-off. Like it was hard. This first story, I did enjoy a lot about it, and I think as it went on, the idea of the series and what I didn't like about it started to really bed in. But I've never watched stuff like Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I'm a huge.
I can't stand that.
And them sort of things. And I usually struggle with any space show that doesn't have time traveling. Like I know, obviously, this has got a lot of time travel, but
some of the things I love about Gallifrey is I like the sophistication of the language. They use big words in this. Like the dialogue is quite fruity and linguistically complicated. I like the complicated plots, and I like the fact that you have to listen, because Big Finish churns out so many fucking, I'll go for a run and listen to those Daleks going boom boom in my ears nowadays, that I actually like something where I've got to give it a bit of consideration and actually get a couple of listens out of it to get the full experience of it. So yeah, I kind of like how much work you have to put into this, but I can understand if people are just, their go-to Big Finish is just to listen to something throwaway, that this would be interminable.
I think Big Finish is richer for having this in the catalogue, and there is a lot of Big Finish that I wouldn't say that about, even if I don't particularly vibe with a lot of it.
Do you know I always considered Gallifrey in those first couple of years as like the West Wing time travel style,
yeah,
all of that politicking, all of that sort of PR work with the universe, and walking and talking down corridors and saying lots of complicated words. But I love the West Wing.
I got into this more. I did the run of like series 1, 2, and 3 of this when I first listened, and it was that story arc stuff. And there's stuff in this first one that sets the scene for stuff in Series 2, Series 3. They mention Imperiatrix and stuff, which comes in later on. So they're really setting in clues and things for much. It's sort of like a long... You have to do like the long haul of it, I think, to get the most out of it. I think you do have to work quite hard.
I'm
It does
guessing free
reward
time
really
comes
well.
into it a bit more because, like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I was quite into that idea
Yeah.
in this first one, and
Yeah.
then it's not really touched on again.
And
It
then,
is a
like,
little bit.
and way later on, like Narvin. I mean, it's Narvin started the Time War supposedly later
The
on.
prick.
Do you know? Have you heard that?
Do you know who Narvin is?
So Narvin, way later on in like series 4 or something, Romana sends him back to try and stop the Daleks being created. He's supposed to be the guy in Genesis of the Daleks talking to the Fourth Doctor.
Of course it is.
That's who he is.
That is no longer a classic.
But they soon realise with Gallifrey, because there's not another season like this first season. It's loosely arc based, but they're mostly standalone stories. Series 2 is one massive arc. Series 3 is one massive arc. Then Series 4, you go off to alternative Gallifreys, and then you're in the Time War after that. So it sort of evolves as it goes. So it never really does the same thing for too long.
But
which I think is good.
I would be happy with Leela has a mission of the week,
Yeah,
which we
me
get
too.
to later on, and just goes off and does some stuff. I quite like that.
There was a part of me listening to all these that was just like, oh, wouldn't it be better if the Doctor was just in it though? Which, like, I don't get when I'm watching Torchwood. I don't want to see John Pertwee turn up in day one.
Lala Ward being bossy is the only woman that can turn me on.
She completely carries the whole lot. Lala Ward is brilliant.
She does have a presence.
Both of them are faultless. Like, I loved listening to both of them. Actually, and this doesn't really happen that much either, but your sort of enthusiasm over those sort of making me want to listen to series 2.
Well, I think it gets better. I mean, we're not talking about series 2 now, but it does get better because you get Mary Tam in there as well later on. So you have her throughout the whole thing, and then you have Linda Belly, you have the Inquisitor in for the whole series as well. So you have these 4 women leading like a lot of the stories later.
We'll talk about series 2 at the end, and if
we'll do that later.
And there's not one gap in fucking time or continuity they won't plug in this series
but going
as well.
back to this this starts it all. And I think it does a good job of setting it up. I just feel that there is a lot to take on. And actually, Braxiatel as well. I mean, because we know him from Bernice, and he's been established in Bernice.
And he is fabulous in it.
So I don't know how we missed this, because he turns up in episode 3, the Inquiry, and I was like, who the hell's that? And then I went on Doctor Who Wiki, and the first thing it said is, he's the Doctor's brother.
Yes.
That's the inference. That's the inference.
Well, that's from like the New Adventure book. So he first turns up in the New Adventure.
Theatre of War by Justin Richards, which is why I think Justin Richards writes the Brax Heavy story. And do you know when Braxiatel was mentioned in the TV series?
No. Oh, is it? Let me have a guess. Is it Time Heist?
No.
Oh, we're talking classic, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh, is it? It's got to be a McCoy story, right?
No, it's one of the most popular Doctor Who stories of all time.
5 Doctors.
City of Death.
Oh,
you know when they go into the Mona Lisa and they go, oh, the Braxiatel collection.
Oh, really? So it is.
And it's the Braxiatel collection, which is where the Bernice series is set.
Well, I'm guessing he's not in this first one so much, because when it got to the third one, I was shocked when I found out he'd been in the first one. It somehow totally passed me by.
I think he does appear in all of them at some point.
In all of them?
He's in all of them. He's in the second one because he's running
the. He's just in the third one.
He's running the other peace conference in the other one. No, he's a regular. He's in all of these.
But he gets like a single scene.
Yeah, he doesn't get as much.
Oh yeah. See, I really hated that bit. So the scene in this where he turns up is when he just starts assembling a new High Council because he assumes that Romana's going to die. And it's them like silly politics bits that really grind me up. Like, I don't believe this is how the universe is run. I don't believe it's run by these people. And they just don't seem bothered about anything. It's not like, and I know that's sort of, for some people, that's the charm. But like, the president's literally dying down on another planet, and they're like, let's just assemble a new cabinet. It wouldn't be like that, would it?
Well, I think that is the Gallifrey that was established like in Deadly Assassin.
I know.
Of all the backstabbing and all of that. Can I just say one more thing about Weapon of Choice? I really like the fact that they go down to this planet Gryben, and it feels sort of Star Warsy. There's a good soundscape there. There's lots of alien voices.
There's a bar as well, isn't there? Like a little
Yeah,
canteen and stuff.
and it's got a really minimalist, evocative score. All four of these did. It's not that sweeping Murray Gold cinematic score that they do every time nowadays.
I do like that though.
I really like the ambience of these though as well. So I thought actually the post production work and music was great.
I like K9 in this, going down being like gangster.
Oh
Leela and stuff. It's worth it for that, surely.
I got one final thing to say. Christ, microspans are long, aren't they? Do they pick up on this? Like when they first say the bomb's going to go off in 45 microspans, that sounds tiny, but it actually ends up being about half an hour.
Romana goes, K9 is a vicious robot master from the 5th galaxy. Oh, she's great. And also Arcadian, which we haven't mentioned, because he's in this story and he's in the last one. And he's this sort of Del Boy wheeler dealer that exists on Gryben, isn't it? Sort of eking a living, doing dodgy deals. A bit glitzy.
Played by Hugo Myatt, who he played, what's his name in Omega, didn't he?
He's got a very plummy voice. He's very Jago-esque. But a good character, I think. I think he's a good contrast to everybody else in this.
Yeah, it's a nice audio voice. It grabs your attention.
Well,
there we go. Well, so a
reasonable start.
It was a good start, and it sort of said, yeah, this premise has got legs.
Well, let's go on to Square One, which was released in April 2004, written by Stephen Cole. This episode features Jane Goddard. I'm just trying to, because I said everyone else.
Do you know who Jane Goddard is?
That's the name.
She's the voice of Alpha Centauri whenever they use him. And she's also the mouse in Bang Bang a Boom that's running the conference.
When's Alpha Centauri been in the Big Finish?
Yeah, the Bride of Peladon.
Shit. Yeah, you're right. I've got
that. Who else is in it? Oh, Lucy Campbell, Robert Dick. That's about it, as well as our assembled cast. Maybe I'm just trying to highlight.
I met Robert Dick at the weekend.
Did you?
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh well, he's the servitor.
Yeah, nice guy.
So
I'm sure that's a common name, though. You know.
So
it's him.
Now we've sort of established that Leela now has a job, has a role as Romana's bodyguard. This is mission of the week. This is Leela is sent down to this conference undercover
as a prosy or an exotic dancer,
which I think is perfect for her.
It's very funny.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, it's that sort of comedy of that you can get with Leela. And then, okay, it does get a little bit complicated. I was going to say this is the most straightforward one, but it's not actually, because basically what is happening is there is another secret conference going on somewhere else, which Romana is supposed to be attending and all of that stuff. Yeah. Someone's trying to sabotage the fake conference, which they sort of knew was going to happen. And there's like this time bomb thing, and time keeps like unwinding and going back.
Simple. The woman who's running the temporal summit is basically, she wants to be the person who is in charge of peace throughout all the timelines. Yeah. So every time the summit goes wrong, she sets her bomb off, which then restarts the whole summit again until they bloody get it right.
It's purposely confusing, isn't it? Because some people retain the memory of the last time and other people don't. So I think it's meant to add to the mystery.
Like you said, Luke, not everybody is who they seem, because Beano, the exotic dancer, actually turns out to be the person that's trying to sabotage the summit. And it isn't until the end that we realise that this entire summit that we've been going to is a fake summit, and they've been doing the real summit back on Gallifrey or wherever, Gryben probably, and getting it done there.
But it shows...
Is it the twist in Bang Bang a Boom?
Oh, it's a little bit like Bang Bang Boom, but it shows that it doesn't all have to be set on Gallifrey. We go straight off somewhere else. It's set mainly somewhere else. It's showing that you can do other things with this series, and it is going to go other places, because you wouldn't want it just set in like the Panopticon or whatever every week. And you follow Leela a lot, and she has a lot to do. And I'd be, like I said, I'd be quite happy just for her to be Leela investigates every week and reports to Romana. Great.
Go and listen to Jago and Lightfoot
Yeah,
series 8.
she's
then.
done it
yeah.
already, yeah.
Before we throw it across to Luke, I'm gonna guess this was your favourite of the year.
I do like this one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah. It's fun. It's a fun one.
Is it because she's pretending to be a hooker?
No, it's not. No,
Yeah.
but there is comedy there, but it's.
And can I ask everybody on this call, what did you see when Leela did the fire dance of the 17?
Good things.
Did you see Louise Jameson now or then?
It doesn't matter. It's like Clara in Last Christmas. I just see the same.
What did you think of this one then, Luke?
I did like this. I think if I was to re-listen to all of them again, this would be my favourite of the four. This was when I was still sort of in with this series. Spoiler: the next one I really do fall off. But I think it sort of felt like I had too many ideas. I know you've just summed it up like with it had one clear idea, someone just resetting it back. As a listening experience, the first time round, I thought it was quite hard to get my head around what was actually going on, and then it ends and you sort of think back and it all starts to like click into place. So I think at the time it was more like trying to figure it out, and then it's sort of is slowly satisfying, but only when it's finished. And like there's a bit of bollocksy, like the sort of the photographs got carried through because they were close to K9, and Leela got carried through and it's like, okay, we've got to go with this sort of bollocksy logic. I know that's sort of Doctor Who, but I think because quite a lot of these play with timelines and repeating timelines and alternate timelines, that there's a point where you think, obviously you're just making it up, but there's a point where you think there is no logic here. Like the logic's been jettisoned to just
And
make
you,
it.
a Stephen Moffat fan, how dare you say this to me?
But no, I thought it's just about worked in the logic frame. The next
idea of
two.
the idea of the picture being found of a murder that's going to happen tomorrow, that's a great idea, I think. Of like,
yeah, because it already happened in
Yeah.
the previous one. Yeah. Yeah, it was just hard. Again, it's all of these are hard to concentrate on, and this one was at least rewarding when it finished.
I can remember listening to these for the first time and being a bit bamboozled by them all, actually. So I think it was probably on the second or third listen.
I think you have to listen
it
to them a
all
few
sort of
times.
bedded in.
But if I wasn't sort of talking to yous, I would never even comprehend listening to these again. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. There's plenty of things that I watch or listen to, and they're
You're
fine.
watching his heart slowly break.
You have to put a lot of time aside to enjoy Gallifrey. I think it is hard work.
But I did like in this one the fact that Romana appears to be a bit stupid, even though I do like the fact she had those prearranged tellings off of everybody at the fake summit. She said, okay, no, just throw one of my recordings in. But you're like, oh, why isn't she getting involved with this bloody summit? Like, what the hell? And actually, the whole thing is a massive fake out, and that she's been dealing with it. And you get all this information as well about how sneaky the Gallifreyans are, that when they help the Moanin host create their time ships, they put in all of this technology where if the Moanin host got too big for their boots, they would destroy. There was something in that technology, they could destroy all of those ships in a heartbeat. And Romana, who's doing all of her new reforms, because all the dusty old Time Lord laws need revising, and we need to be more open with peoples of the universe, says to the Moanin host, this technology is in your ships, and we're going to take it out because that's not fair. You should be a temporal power in your own right. And I really like all that sort of Time Lords being underhanded like that, because that then pisses off Narvian and everybody else at the end, which then kicks into the next story, which is the Inquiry, where Romana is being held to account for everything that she's done in the series to date. Did that make sense?
It made sense, but I didn't take that out of the story because I was just trying to get my head around the
No,
square.
there's all these details.
Yeah.
which are really
I
interesting when they're
really
there.
like
But
it. I
I'm
love the world
just more
building.
just following the basic plot from A to B, rather than all these other. That's what I think you pick up, all these other details, which you can pick up again later on.
I do think that if this was on TV, I'd be a lot more on board with it because you're not working so hard to just even set the basics. You know, if it's on TV, you're just listening to what people are saying and all the characters are in the room together, and you'd be able to follow it a lot easier. And I think I'd enjoy it a lot more. It was the sheer effort taken to follow some of this.
Because stuff like that, like you've just explained, you have sort of bits of plot, Leela doing her stuff, and then it is a lot of Romana and Brexiatel or whatever, just
Yeah.
sort of shouting each
It's
other,
all
and these
happening.
details come out of those intense conversations. Like there is a lot of Romana sort of
And
talking
like,
to
it's
people in
not
her
fair
office.
for me to be on this call and make
to
all that sound
explain.
effortless because I've studied this series and written doco reviews for 2 decades, for fuck's sake. So of course I understand all this stuff. But I do think when you pull away from the complicated plotting, which I can do because I've heard these so many times, then you start to see the details. And actually, it is a really detailed bit of world building. When you see the whole series, like all of it, there's a lot there. But you just sort of, you have to sift it out.
And nothing. He just continues to irritate. Like Romana shouldn't have to put up with someone like him.
It's now a good point to talk about the
I was going to
Narvanites.
say, why does everyone love Narvin? Why does he have a whole fan club
What?
then?
So he has got these series of girls called the Narvanites. That's what they call themselves. And we met one of them at the Big Finish Day, actually. She was in the queue with us. And they just love him. They send him stasers and costumes and things to take pictures in. They mob him at conventions and that and have photographs with him.
Oh,
They
they're
are
gonna hate
obsessed with
me.
him. No, you're not a Narvanite, Luke. No.
I think at the American conventions, there's lots of Narvins. Actually, there's lots of Narvins and Leelas and Romanas. There's a lot like Gallifrey. Like this is probably the only Big Finish series that has loads of cosplayers.
I think the only reason why the Narvanites exist is because, sort of from series 4 onwards, Sean Carson grew a bit of scruff and started wearing leather gear rather than that boring Time Lord costume. And so now he looks really hot on the covers.
What do you think the moaning host looks like? I mean, sure, this is a description, but I think I just imagined Rootens, but I think that's just because it's got host in the title.
Well, it's funny you should say that because one of our early Finish Big episodes, Mark and I used to do drawings.
I remember when you said,
and one of them was Vrint of the Moaning Host. So could you find those pictures from the episode and put them
Oh,
out?
that Moaning Host! I can't remember what.
I drew like a big sort of Mickey Mouse cartoon being exterminated. That's what mine looked like, Mickey Mouse.
Oh, I don't know what I thought, but this time around, I imagined that thing from Kasterboron in that little tank thing.
Oh my god!
Arcturus looking like that.
What
No,
about you?
mine was very Rootin. It was a green blob.
Ah, that's the power of audio. So we're all seeing different things.
Because there was a name drop to the Apocalypse element in this, wasn't there? And then when I finished Gallifrey, I re-listened to the Apocalypse element just to see how much. I know, I did my homework just to see how much tied in. Wasn't actually that much, was it? It's just the Monans are in it.
But I thought this was strong again. I thought it had some nice, fun dialogue in it, good twists, and tons of Leela. What's wrong with that?
I thought this probably had the best story of the four. But again, it does have that sort of, you just can't relax. Like and that's not just concentration, it's sort of exhausting. Just knowing that everyone's got an ulterior motive. I really struggle to stay in the present for that.
I wonder if you did listen to these again, you'd enjoy them more. I'm not saying listen to them again, but I'm wondering if you did listen to them again. Now you know all the basics, all the building blocks.
I think it always helps. I mean, like, I don't think I've never listened to a Big Finish for a second time and thought that was worse because the building blocks are there.
I'm literally desperate to get him on series 2 now.
Right. Let's go on to the inquiry because there's probably more. So this one was released in April 2004, written by Justin Richards, and along with our regular cast, also now features Linda Bellingham as Darker. She properly comes into this now. It's got Robert Dick in it as well. Again,
It also has Daniel Hogarth in
My
it.
mate Rob.
Daniel Hogarth as Glower. I can't remember who that is, but I do know that Daniel Hogarth is ex-boyfriend to Cy-Hart. So there we go.
there we are. Right. So the inquiry. So this one now, we've had all this Timonic fusion device chat since the first episode, and now is the time that we have the Inquisitor back from Trial of a Time Lord, which I think is brilliant, to
husky voice.
to investigate whether Romana's actions in the first story was negligent or not. And okay, I am gonna have difficulty explaining this one.
That's because I think it's
So
indecipherable.
we go back into a little bit of history. So it turns out that Narvin and Braxiatel were involved, and know that there actually was a
Timonic fusion device prototype.
There was something, and it's sort of all covered up by the CIA or whoever. I feel exhausted talking about this.
Let me continue. Then it's sort of like Schrodinger's cat. You know, the cat in the box, and you don't know whether it's dead or not, and until
it's
you
exactly
open the
like
box.
that.
It's a bit like that. So, was the Timonic fusion device set off in the past? Did they test the prototype, or did they not? And at various points in this bloody complicated script, the answer is yes, they did turn it on, and no, they didn't turn it on, depending on where you are in the story. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think conceptually, great idea, but the best writers make these huge ideas and make them very easy to follow. Yeah, and listen. I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. I'm not stupid, and I've listened to like quite a lot of sci-fi, and I was sat half an hour in reading the Doctor Who wiki plot description as I'm listening to it, pausing it and trying to follow it on Doctor Who wiki, and still not being able to follow it with audio and what someone's written up about it. Like, I sort of get the general gist, but it's hard. And I think what also annoys me is, and it's my own fault, I wrong-footed myself into thinking, right, we've had two fairly complicated scripts, but this one, The Inquiry, is going to be like a courtroom drama with Leela and the Inquisitor, like a bit trial of a Time Lord, and it'll catch me up on all the bits I've missed before the finale. So I was sort of expecting that going in, and then to get something that was even more complicated than the two before, I think put me in a bad mood.
Oh no! Oh, we never want to put you in a bad mood.
Yeah, there were complicated moments in stuff like when they show like a flashback to, is it Braxiatel or Narvin when they're doing the original experiment and stuff. It took me a minute to realise that they had gone back and that was their younger versions or whatever. It doesn't really explain that.
They were doing younger voices. I could tell without the harp that we were back in time.
And then stuff like suddenly Romana's gone to meet Braxiatel to buy this artifact or whatever somewhere.
Yeah.
She just turns up there and it doesn't really explain what's going on there. Although I do like the sort of complicatedness, the way they have built on the character of Braxiatel, because here you find out that he's talking to his younger self and sending artifacts back in time, and that's a Braxiatel that's in the Beneath series. You've already seen you setting up the collection and getting all the artifacts and stuff. So I like how it does tie up.
But there's a big distinction between you and Luke there, because Luke's never listened to the Bernice and he's never read the New Adventures.
Yeah, but you don't need to know that. All you need to know here is...
Oh, you do.
I think you do. Otherwise, it's
you just need to know that he's sending stuff back.
I'm saying you do.
That is fucking random.
No,
that is random. He's just sending art back in time.
He's saying he wants to save it because in case this device goes off and destroys all loads of stuff, he's sending it back and he's saving stuff. That's all you need to know here. Luke. It's just a nice bow on top.
It was random, and I
thank you.
Didn't get it really what was going on.
But if you were an avid listener of the Beneath series, then you'd be like, okay.
Well, that's right. I can't really have a go because it's exactly what is right for the audience at the time. Because anyone that's picking this up at the time would have known. Really,
no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It doesn't.
I was giving you. How can you dismiss the proof right in front of you?
No, I'm just saying you don't need to know the other stuff. You don't at all.
I think you do as well. Well, we're going on a majority vote. It's 2-1.
To know because it doesn't directly say it. It just implies that it's happening, and it's nice that it ties up.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but it says here he's sending it back in time.
Yeah, but he's telling you
but
it's not a problem.
I was like, why? And when there's two timelines going on anyway with this bomb thing,
I certainly didn't think Gallifrey was going to be our most fractious conversation yet.
I didn't think that this guy was sitting on the Mona Lisa from City of Death. That never came across to me. And then when I Google it, Doctor Who Wiki, and it's like it's the Doctor's brother. I was like, what the fuck? Who is this bloke?
Luke, stay away from Doctor Who Wiki, all right?
And by the end of it, I didn't know. Did Braxiatel want the bomb to go off? Did he care?
Yeah, I was so confused by the end.
Did he care that it went off? Did the data bomb help?
Here's my notes at the end, right? I was just scrolling down random plot points. I put Timonic test went ahead. Device was retrospectively stolen and the Minos timeline was rewritten. No, wait, a cover-up. Wait, it was Romana and Braxiatel. They set the whole season in motion. No, wait, they stopped it being stopped. And by that point, I was just so lost.
Yeah,
I was this could have been simplified.
I was so done with trying to understand it by the end.
It shouldn't be this difficult. And also, I do think there's another issue with this one as well. And that is that the data bomb, which is a good idea, is going to go off if they don't stop it in time. But it's going to destroy the Matrix. Well, who gives a fuck about the Matrix? That's not a person. That's just a load of memories.
There's one bomb going off, not going off. And then there's a data bomb going off, not going off.
Yeah.
And then, because the data bomb, that puts Braxiatel's name everywhere to prove that he knew about the Timonic fusion device's deadly power or something. I don't know.
I think this. You remember you said the other one would work better on TV. I think this would work better as a book, as a novella, where you would give the ideas a bit of time to breathe on the page and explain them in more depth.
Yeah.
There's just too much coming at you.
I don't think you're supposed to finally get an answer about Braxiatel and what's going on, because in Bernice, again, he's the same in Bernice. You don't know if he's on their side or not, and he does end up being a sort of a baddie later on, doesn't he? So you don't know. Yeah, I think you're always supposed to keep guessing the whole time.
But it doesn't. Know. It's not a don't know where I'm intrigued and he's a mystery. It's not like a Mrs. Flood. It's it's another guy doing ulterior motive stuff. And I've got no answer for what it means.
But is this showing how great a President Romana is and what great... Because she's the one that's trying to sort it all out and she's trying to get away from all of this dodgy stuff that's going on. And you're sort of with her on that fight to sort it all out.
But
no, because in every story, every single person has still got these...
There's someone there with a knife behind her back.
Yeah, that's why she's pissed off the whole time in a really bad mood, shouting at
Is that a good listening experience?
What is great about the... I know I'm going to the second series. What is great about the second series is that all of our enemies come out into the light. And it's very much us and them. And there's none of this sort of underhandedness anymore. They are genuinely trying to take her down. And that's more interesting.
It's a nice touch, though, to bring back the Inquisitor, though.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but she doesn't inquisit.
No, she was only in the first one.
She doesn't inquisit really.
But when she's evil, Luke, she's fabulous.
I couldn't get a grip on what this trial was because it starts and then everyone just starts. She fucks off to Braxiatel land. There's two bombs going off, and there's meant to be an Inquisitor trial going on in the middle. And what I thought at the end, I was like, wasn't this meant to be about Romana's actions? And I know there's like one line where it's like, well, sort of didn't happen, so you're all right. I was like, what? Oh,
you know, you should have written this.
Am I meant to believe that at the end of this, Romana basically agrees to aging 100 million minions to death? Is that what happens?
Yes.
What am I meant to believe? That she'd be all right with that?
Because that's the established timeline.
She has to go. Yeah, she can't break the rules.
Yeah, fixed points in time, Luke.
It's not, is it? It's just bollocks points in time.
That's Gallifrey. Well, I mean, I think we can all agree.
yeah,
For me, this was a tricky listen.
Yeah.
I love the first two, and I'll keep my powder dry on the last one. But this was the one where halfway through I was going, "What is happening? I don't have a clue what's going on."
Yeah, I've got no notes. It's just questions.
I think Jonathan Morris would have made a brilliant stab at this because he writes a great timey-wimey plot, but he always remembers the human interest and he always keeps it relatively simple as well, whilst juggling sort of high concepts. So,
Did you say this was Justin Richards?
yeah.
Okay. So this sort
Time
of
of the
reminds
Daleks.
me, yeah. I was just about to say. Sort of reminds me of that messy time travel stuff.
Yeah.
But I could just about follow that.
And
Again,
yeah, Justin Richards, Jago and Lightfoot's are really simple stories.
yeah, and good.
He just needs to find the happy medium.
I agree. There's one positive I can give. I still liked the underlying Andred storyline, which does progress a little bit in this one.
Because you learn in this one, don't you? The Torvald killed Andred, which is such a leading line.
Yes, yeah, and it's just an inspired idea to keep him out as a mystery, even though you wouldn't think you'd be bothered about him.
I like how they are addressing it because Invasion of Time was not the best ending for Leela to just marry off with Andred, and to do something with that to develop where we're going to go with it. I think that's really clever that they didn't just ignore it or just have him.
And I think in the writing of Leela as well,
not mentioned or anything.
In the writing of Leela,
really
they justify that shit decision in Invasion of Time because she really sells that she loved him, that she's lost him, and that she misses him. Louise Jameson is so good; she can even sell that shitty ending from Invasion of Time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go on to the last one then.
A blind eye.
A blind eye, which is mentioned a lot. Everyone's got a blind eye in this, haven't they? Released in May 2004. This one's written by Alan Barnes. And this has India Fisher guest starring.
The third queen of Finnish.
I wasn't expecting this.
And it also features Susan Engel. Oh my God, Susan Engel!
That is Sarah of Diplos from Stones of Blood.
Oh, did she play?
She was the old woman.
Oh yeah.
So this one again, we're not really on Gallifrey. We're off somewhere else. We're on a train. Which is a great setting for a story.
Love a
train story.
Love a train. 2 might be a bit much though.
Yeah, before it all goes off weird and like 2 and stuff, it starts off fine. So the idea about this is, actually, I don't know why it's gone to a train really, because Romana goes to visit, what's his name, Hugo Myatt, Arcadian, because Arcadian says, "I know who's done all this timonic fusion device stuff. Come and meet me here and I will let you know what's going on. In return, ignore what's going on this train and stuff with Charlie Pollard's sister. There's some weird time stuff. I'm dealing with it. I'm doing some dodgy dealings. If you let me just get on with this, I will tell you everything you need to know." So Romana's like, fine, great.
Well, she's not really happy about it.
She's
but
not,
she says, "I'll give you the time."
Yeah, she was like, "I'll give you the time."
It's a bit stupid, isn't it, for him to invite her to the train if he's doing the dodgy deals?
Well, I
figured because they do say that there is a what is it, like a blanket exclusion zone around Charlie Pollard's timeline, including her sister. No one's allowed to visit it or change it at all, just in case the anti-time bullshit comes up again. So maybe the fact that he's there would alert the Time Lords, and they'd be like, "There's an unauthorized person in a time." So maybe that's why he pulled him.
Well, that's why, like,
just to get
you've thought about it more than the writer. Yeah.
Well, that's why, like, Narvin and all of that are there, aren't they? Because it turns out, who turns up as a ticket officer?
Well, no,
it turns
out that Arcadian and Narvin are in.
They're already there.
They're in cahoots together because they're trying to draw Torvald because they suspect that he is a free-time agent. So the whole thing's a massive deception again.
Okay, well, should we just go straight to that bit and just, as we've been talking about Andred and all of that, spoilers everyone, if you haven't heard, don't listen to this bit, but it's probably too late. The whole reveal, Torvald, the secret, what's going to be going on there, turning out actually to be Andred and everything. I love this
Brilliant.
whole arc.
I
I think it's
love
really
that
clever
twist.
way of doing it. What do you think?
um, so I think you've said this because,
Oh,
but like
no.
2 or 3 minutes before it was about to happen, it started. Like Mark Raw was in my ear. Um, I don't think it was on a finish big. I think you might have just
I did
mentioned it somewhere.
I did a Gallifrey on a Too Hot for TV, and I think I explained the whole plot to Dylan.
Yeah, maybe you did.
I
So
should have done that.
For once, it wasn't me.
but no, it didn't ruin it because I was so tapped out by the point that it happened that I don't, it wasn't like a big thing. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. I mean, it was a bit of an interesting, it was an interesting bit at the end of what was something that I just thought was another mess, really.
Okay, so the whole reveal, the whole that sort of intrigue of it going through and turning
I
out that
thought it was
it's
a
not actually
decent,
him.
it was a
I thought,
decent payoff, but yeah, I'd sort of tapped out of the series by the time that it happened.
no.
This is my favourite of the year by a mile. I fucking love this story. I think
I like that Charlie's sister's a Nazi. That was
that
well
whole
Yes.
plot
explained.
is just brilliant. The last thing you'd ever suspect is for her to be a member of the Third Reich. She's fucking Hitler's whore, for
And
God's
she
sake.
plays it different enough to Charlie Pollard as well. I think she does a really great
Yeah.
job at that.
And a
Yeah.
dark ending. I did it in the quote at the start. She
think what it
kills
was-
herself.
With the Amjad thing, it was the end is a really clever sort of piece of storytelling, but it comes at the end of, I say, 4 stories of countless characters not being or not doing what they said they were, and so it just felt like another one. It was like, oh, it's a shock that there's a traitor or that's not them or whatever, because it just happened so many times over 4 episodes that it sort of dampened the effect for me. Also, I was trying to think, and they might have well explained it. Was there not in the wherever they got shot? Was there not a dead body of Torvald and then Torvald alive as Andred? If you know what I mean.
So the real Torvald was dead, somebody else dead. And then
But-
Andred regenerated and was
Into
like,
Torvald.
no, not into and took Torvald's identity. But the real
Oh,
Torvald
but
was
with a
dead.
sort of different face.
So he used his opportunity to regenerate. So he regenerated, changed his face.
But
Torvald
took his
was dead
bio
and was
thing.
like,
So he literally
just
had a
took-
moment,
and
took
just
his insignia and
took
went,
his
right, I'm going to
details.
figure out what's going on in the CIA because
Yeah.
I think something
Yeah,
dodgy.
because there is a thing, isn't there? There's a story earlier on where they see someone's access the Matrix and fiddled about with.
Yes,
Torvald
that's
or
in the
Andred.
other one where the data thing has been, changed.
So I knew it was seeded, and I
Ever watched
quite like.
Jonathan Creek?
Yeah,
There's that fabulous episode, do you remember, with the magician lady, the Christmas one, and the buzzsaw goes and cuts her in half.
Oh
and
my
the woman
God, yes.
realizes, shit, my sister's dead, and her husband and daughter are out there, and I can either tell them that she's dead, or because she's my twin sister, I'll take on her identity. It's basically that split second choice of I've got to do the right thing. So
Yeah.
fuck you, Leela. I'm going to take down the CIA.
and I liked Leela's, sort of fierce
She's
ending.
great.
Yeah, like fuck off.
You remember the line? I'm sorry, I'm going to do another little line. You ready? She goes. Oh. Can't do it. My husband is dead. I have done my grieving. And then she just walks off very melodramatically. Fabulous.
So I liked character plots, but I didn't like the plot of the story because it did feel like make shit up avenue again. Like all the sorts of rules of logic are just falling off again. It's just, oh, there's 2 trains and one's more dominant, and Leela's gone to that one because she was holding on to Sissy, and it was like, okay, if we're doing this, then you could just write anything as the next line. Like there's no.
That's the Big Bang, Luke. You don't mind that so much.
Big Bang's got an internal logic
It
about
does
it.
not. It's just
it's-
making up time travel shit as he goes
I
along.
suppose you needed to find a way of having the characters in two different locations, but you're stuck on a train, so you have to have two. You have to separate them somehow.
Oh, but then I was
That
like,
was
why are
probably
the
the only
biggest
way.
race in the universe pissing about on a train on Earth? You know, and it's that sort of Gallifrey thing of like, why are the Time Lords just four people sniping at each other in a room? Should we not?
Yeah,
should we not
I
do
think there's a
better?
problem at this point in that we are only seeing Gallifrey from the point of view of about 5 people. It does open
Yeah.
out a bit.
Because what my first note, my first note on this is, why doesn't Ramona just get some friends? Like,
She's got
like,
Leela. She needs no one else.
I think this would really benefit from a character on her cabinet that would just provide a few laughs. Not necessarily a doctorish character, but just someone. They don't even have to be funny, but a sort of dry sense of humor. Anything
It is
that
quite serious series.
that
No,
doesn't.
K9 comes in every now and then with a funny line.
But yeah, but even K9 has an ulterior motive at
He's
points.
easily pleased. I'll speak from experience. I've got to say though, Luke, I do disagree with you entirely, and it had to happen at some point on this call. No, I just think this is great. I love the
I do usually really like Alan Barnes's story.
It's so refreshing to just not be in a science fiction setting for one, and it's really nice to have a period character. I think India Fisher plays that role, that spoiled, bored brat, brilliantly, and really differentiates it from Charlie in a lot of ways. And so that whole story was really intriguing. I love the imagery of all the different train stats, sort of taps into Sapphire and Steel type imagery, which I really like. The sort of the ghostly images of the two trains. I love I do like all the backstabbing and counter plotting in this one. And I was following it up because I literally have reams and reams of notes here. As we were listening, I was sort of writing out the plot. I love the fact that the old lady is Arcadian's client all along, and she wants Sissy because she does a run in, what is it, Third Reich memorabilia and people through history. I just thought it was a really quirky.
It's exhausted, and it's like I can't. It actually won't. It doesn't go in because there's bigger things at play.
But I think if you tap into it, it does. I think if you resist it, it doesn't.
Yeah, I definitely got to the point here where I think I was begging for them to just have some mercy and let my brain breathe.
You might like Series 2, Episode 1 then. That's written by Gary Russell. That ain't too complicated. What do you think of this one?
I really like this. Along with the second one, this is one of my favourites.
Yeah,
again, just the same thing. It's just a different setting, that historical setting on the train. It's just taking these characters out somewhere else. Okay, I know they're all still having those technobabble conversations with each other just on a train instead of on Gallifrey. But I just like... Yeah, I just like the atmosphere of it, and I think I really like India Fisher being in it. I like anything India Fisher does, so it just added a bit of energy.
Oh,
to
I
the
definitely
cast.
I liked having Sissy there.
I really love the fact as well that the plot this time was to force Romana to resign because they're embarrassed for her turning a blind eye to the whole Charlie anti-time paradox.
A blind eye.
Yes, thank you. So it actually shows that Neverland has got repercussions for Romana.
I thought that bit was good. I thought that was a good bit of plot because I think that was after having like 10 minutes out of being confused or whatever, I suddenly had something to grip back onto, and it's like it just makes it feel a bit more real. The story's flowing.
What they were trying to do was use Sissy to create another paradox to release the anti-time again, and I don't think that's a good way of going about things because those anti-time creatures could flood in and basically murder
And start a new
universe.
Divergent universe.
Oh no, please!
That's coming. Not now. You think about it.
No.
The return to the Divergent universe is definitely happening.
He said that in our episode on
Did
it.
you?
I pleaded for mercy.
100%. They've brought Chris back, and they're starting to feed off their own nostalgia. And I know for hands down that I would buy that set.
it will happen, won't it? Definitely.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
Only if they get Jim Mortimer back, Robert Shearman, all those writers, you know.
Take me back to the test tube in Skirts.
Philip Martin's dead, I'm afraid. We can't have Creed of the Chrome on the sequel.
What can you do?
Although, may I apologise in advance, because when we talked about that episode, I did actually say that the only reason you liked it is because you enjoyed hearing Charlie Pollard as a breeder.
I don't know why I enjoy it. It's weird. Anyway, we're doing Gallifrey.
I don't know why you enjoy that. You don't enjoy this, but there we go.
Of all the complete opposite things.
It's got the Doctor. The series needed the Doctor in.
Do you think, like, even though it was getting a bit too overwhelming and there was too much detail and too much plot, do you think it forged its own identity though? Like within that?
Yes.
Even if you didn't like
but I think the identity, see, the one that I'm left thinking about is sort of just 5 of what is meant to be the universe's greatest race. 5 of them just in a room sniping at each other with plan after plan after plan behind them to like revert. And yeah, I get it's not something I particularly watch on TV. It's not something I particularly read. Stories, political stories like that. It's not my particular ball game. I think I got carried through this when I liked the plot and the time travel plot, and if I vibed with it, if I thought it was just too Makeup Avenue, which time travel stories can be. If it was too Makeup Avenue, I didn't like it. But the other one, the main one, was just Leela, Romana, Louise Jameson, and Lala Ward at the forefront, fierce and brilliant, and just had that chemistry and energy that drove through the sets. So even at its worst, I wasn't I was never bored. I was more exhausted, tired, and like
It's interesting though, what you said there about it just being a couple of people, because at this stage of the game, there was a strict limit, especially in this spin-off media, of how many characters they were allowed to have, how many actors they could use in the stories. And I think since it moved from individual releases to box sets later on, those later box sets, the Time War ones and things like that, the Gallifrey series, suddenly it's on a huge scale with massive casts because the whole thing is one story for the most part. So it feels huge.
Was that
Whereas
better?
I'm not sure which
I
approach is
prefer
better.
it this
These are
when
more
it's smaller.
intimate, but those are more epic. It depends if you prefer intimate or epic.
I said like a few tweaks if it's just 1 or 2 of the characters weren't quite so backstabbing or just like if Leela just had someone that supported her and was just there for her to like talk to. I know you say K9, but like I think that would help. That would help significantly because then I wouldn't be like everyone's out for themselves.
It's great that this voice is here in this call, because otherwise this would have just been a massive love-in with no other perspective. And actually, I think it's quite refreshing to hear all the different angles.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of myself back then. So this obviously came out just after sort of Twilight Kingdom. So the main range is like 60. I do think I'd have liked it a lot back then. Doctor Who's still. Did we know Doctor Who was coming back at this stage? It's not back, but we knew it was coming back.
It's been announced.
But yeah, I think this. I would definitely have picked this up at the time. I'd have been like, "Christ, get on this."
I'll just say one last thing about Blind Eye.
Yeah.
I figured you was going to move on then.
No.
Oh, but you can talk about Blind Eye.
No, I was just going to say, imagine, I wonder what Lala Ward thought of the scripts. Did she actually know what she was saying half the time with everything? Or was she was
Says
like,
it with conviction.
well, all these nerds will appreciate this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you think people are just reading it off the page, and then this I was hearing Romana, not Lala Ward, getting a paycheck.
She says it with some passion, doesn't she? And so does
she really does.
Louise Jameson.
Yeah, and this is them really, apart from that bit into Grace, this is the first time them coming back to the role. They've not, it's not, Louise Jameson hasn't done a million Fourth Doctor stories yet,
And as much as I say that it's hard to buy into these Time Lords as the biggest race in the universe ever, I buy into her as the president I fully believe she's the president.
Because I don't even, it hasn't even crossed my mind that it's this massive race or whatever. I'm just totally in just her team and what's happening in her office. I didn't really even think about the whole
But she needs
greater
to get a
Time
new
Lord
office.
stuff.
She's in charge of that office. Get rid of Narvin.
But then I just get that feeling we've missed out that story where, oh no, we didn't have much in the Apocalypse. No, she wasn't properly president in the Apocalypse element. Where
Well,
like,
she's like missing, isn't she? She's on the other
yeah,
planet.
but just I feel like she's not wanted there at all. No one wants her as president. They all look at her as like, why the hell is she president?
I don't want to be this person though, but I must say the new series is basically taking that approach. In the end of time, it's just 4 people around the table. They represent all of Gallifrey. In Day of the Doctor, it's just the general and one other man. It's 2 people that represent the whole of Gallifrey. In Hellbent, it's the president and one other man, and they
in all them stories that they are 2 minutes of what is a generally much wider story. Like Day of the Doctor, especially, is 2 minutes in a story that is quite joyous.
If this
But
was
my
on
point
TV,
is,
you'd get.
it's economy again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the economy of it.
If this was on TV, you'd have that one set of Romana's office, but then you'd have that sort of cut of the bubble and the city going over every now and then, just to show that you're in Gallifrey.
You say I just thought of an alternate universe where Gallifrey is the long-running TV show, and then we're doing a spin-off audio of Doctor Who.
But I think you're right, though. I think at this point, because the classic series is all we've ever had, they're still in a classic series mentality. They're still thinking about 4 rooms. And, you could do Gryben like the market in Snake Dance. It could be done with a few flats and a couple of market sellers going, like this wouldn't be expensive to realise on telly. It's not until the new series comes along where the whole landscape of Doctor Who changes and Big Finish sort of goes in that direction. Suddenly we're doing epic time wars with Gallifrey and things like that. It's huge.
As much as I'm saying that I don't believe these are the leaders of the universe, I also don't really believe that in any of the classic series ones apart from the War Games. So
Can I just highlight one scene in A Blind Eye, because it was my favourite scene in the whole of this first series of Gallifrey. It's so dramatic and it's so Neighbours, so you'll love this as well. It's the bit where Romana materialises the TARDIS in front of the speeding train.
Oh, that
and
was
gets
great.
out and goes, I'm going to let the train smash into the TARDIS, and then he suddenly goes, no, you can't, Leela! And it's Torval talking, and we're like, what's going on? He's like, why do you care? Because she's my wife! I just loved it. It was just crazy melodramatic, but just the perfect moment. I love that bit.
And
I think at that point, and it wasn't just because of what Mark said, at that point I was waiting for someone to reveal themselves to be Andred.
Anyway. Thanks, Mark. Spoiled the whole series. Spoilers.
Well, at least they didn't go. They take stuff out of the books, isn't it? Andred and Leela are supposed to be the Doctor's parents or something. From
yeah,
they could have gone. They could have gone down that road, and we could have had all the Lungbarrow stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a very faint implication. It's not actually a hello, Dad.
In the Gallifrey Chronicles, it's supposed to be this woman called Patience.
As who?
As the Doctor's mother.
Ah.
They keep changing their minds. Mind you, they're doing all that looming, weren't they, instead of having sex? So who knows?
Well, I don't know. I've just read The Stranger, and I don't think it was just looming.
Going on there. Plenty of semen falling in water, but no looming.
Different podcast, different.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, that sums up Gallifrey.
I'm really glad you listened to this, though. One, because I don't think, like you said, you would ever have listened to this.
Yeah.
And 2, because it has given you a peek into this, even if you don't explore any more ever.
Yeah, I enjoyed I enjoyed it because I've come on here and spoken to you, and I've enjoyed talking about it because it's not one of those where it's just like, yeah, it was good. And it wasn't one of those where you're just kicking it. I was actually very conflicted on the bits I liked, the bits I didn't like. Thinking about it quite a lot, unpicking that, which is always great. That's what you want. That's what you want media to do to you.
I reckon you could say, I'm not putting words in your mouth, I'm talking about the universal you now, that there is potential here. Even if they haven't realised it for you here, there is potential in this series and what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what I said at the beginning. Really, that summarized it perfectly there. Which was, it might not be absolutely my taste, but it definitely makes the Big Finish catalog richer, and not many, not many big. Well, not many, but I wouldn't say that about quite a lot of Big Finishes.
And it's interesting. We've not heard any of the later Gallifrey series like War Room or whatever, but they don't have Lala Ward in. So I'd be really interested to hear some of those later
So
ones.
how many are there? So there's is there like
So there is four, five, six. There's six series of Gallifrey,
okay.
and then they did two others: Intervention Earth and Enemy Lines, which were sort of more just one-off stories. And then we have Gallifrey Time War 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're into Gallifrey War Room, which there are four of.
Can I just put
as
in
well.
a pun
So-
for the first Gallifrey Time War set? That if anyone's listened to this and you've never explored Gallifrey and you just want to fork out for one series, Time War 1 is just amazingly good. All four stories are great. They all have great endings, and they murder a character I hate horribly in one of the episodes. It's glorious. I shall say no more.
I mean, and then later on, like in some of the Time War, we have Ace comes in with Narvin and Leela. So
Nobody's perfect.
But then we do lose Lala Ward, so she's not in from Time War 3 onwards. She's not.
Actually,
she's
that
not
does
in
make
it,
sense
so-
though, because Ace was supposed to go to Gallifrey, so it's sort of going on from where her story
Does all
should
that. And
have
then
ended.
I think we get some of the characters from the War Doctor sets. Who's
The general's there.
What's
I'm
her
guessing
name?
it's
The Jacqueline
Alistra.
Pierce character is
Alistra,
recast, so
Oh,
she's
Alistra.
in. Yeah, Alistra is in as somebody else as well, and then we get different Rassilon. We get the Richard Armitage Rassilon, and all sorts of things.
Wow.
I haven't got that far yet.
The
but-
thing that's astonishing about it is it's been running now for like 15 years and it's showing no signs of slowing down. So
and Gallifrey-
it's astonishing, really.
Gallifrey-
You should know this, Joe. Big Finish. They don't stop unless you die.
That'd be the tagline now. Big Finish. We never stop.
Yeah.
It's at Gallifrey 3, actually. We get Maxil. Colin Baker turns up as in a scene. We get Maxil. In Gallifrey 4, we've got
Caroline Ford.
We've got Caroline Ford as like a Gallifrey
Alternative
slave.
Susan.
Katie Manning is like a vampire.
It's wonderful.
We get everybody turns up in Gallifrey at some point. So
And then Gallifrey 5, the Daleks invade. Oh my god, it's amazing.
yeah. So
I can't wait to do them all with you.
Yes! That's what we were hoping for. Well,
Well, what are we doing now then?
do you want to do your
Do you want to
chronology?
do chronology? It's a really easy chronology.
Well, you say...
Oh,
It-
okay.
Well, it is. I'm not doing that. I was trying to explain this earlier because it was like, well, where does it fit in with Romana? Where does it fit in with Braxitel? And it doesn't work like that. This chronology that I'm doing is if you're listening to all of the stories overall in order, right? But it doesn't matter for the individual characters. So this obviously is set after Zagreus.
Yes.
So if you're doing like a big listen, you do Zagreus, you do so Creed of the Chromon, Natural History of Fear, Twilight Kingdom, and then I would place Gallifrey Series 1 directly after that first series of Divergent Universe. So it's really simple. It doesn't matter where Romana is or where Braxiatel is or whatever, because you're just meeting the characters here wherever they are. It doesn't matter.
Surely
if
does
you
in
see
the
what I
web of
mean.
everything. Like, where's Brax compared to Bernice Summerfield series?
Well, so Bernice Summerfield happens with the Seventh Doctor stuff after she's been with the Seventh Doctor. So you've already met Braxiatel then.
Yeah.
So which would have happened with these releases anyway. So it doesn't matter. If you want to do a Braxiatel timeline, there are plenty out there online, and they're
Don't.
very complicated. And it says who he's given a pot to in the future, in the past, and stuff. But no, if you're just listening to it, it just goes.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't
know.
need to do the whole timeline of all the characters.
I do. And then say if Paul, like a Faith Stealer Paul McGann was to turn up in Series 2 of Gallifrey, then Series 2 of Gallifrey would go after Faith Stealer.
Yes, yeah. So if there's a crossover with those, it depends. Because I can't think of an example right now, but that was a great example. Yeah,
Thank you, Mark.
Because I don't think we do get an Eighth Doctor or whatever. But say Susan was in one of these, and then we get Susan's War later on. We might have to sort of swap things around to make sure that sort of worked for the two series. But it doesn't matter that we've already met a different Braxiatel or an earlier Braxiatel in Bernice. It just is a nice tie because you don't need to know about the other character.
Are you going to pick up Susan's War too? So who gave it a 10 out of 10?
We didn't get past the Sensorite.
Haven't actually finished series 1. So.
Did you never get to the fourth episode?
On the platform in Lewis, right, on a wet, rainy day, and the train to London goes through Lewis every time. Every time we pull into Lewis station, we both say to each other, "Oh, Susan's War."
No, didn't even get to do the Paul McGann one. Didn't even.
So the fourth episode with Paul McGann, it's set during Remembrance of the Daleks.
Oh my god!
Do you think, that's a serious question? Do you think, that was the point where they got truly desperate with time?
I might listen to it again this week.
Susan's War. Sheer desperation.
No, it makes total sense.
Ooh, whose war next will we get? Jackie Tyler's War?
Probably, but that one makes less sense. Jackie Tyler's War on the couch.
The hose war.
Anyway,
hose?
really simple chronology. It's right there for now. Okay, and then let's go over to Doco Ho, shall we?
Hey.
This may be where you learnt the twist, I hear that Doco Ho Reviews was a seminal...
I wasn't reading your Gallifrey reviews.
What was you reading? Main Range?
No, maybe I started with Jago and Lightfoot. But you did TV show though, didn't you?
Oh, loads of TV.
Yeah, I would have read your TV show reviews.
Oh, little did you know, reading those, that one day.
But I think I started reading your Big Finish reviews just before I bought the Jago and Lightfoot box sets. Just so I was like, let's see what this little hoe thinks of Jago. Jago.
I tried to think what you said reading those reviews. What?
Well, you were like, whoa, they're amazing. So I was like, right, £50, gone.
Were they amazing?
Oh, the first five. Whoa.
Well, let's see if Doco Ho knew what he was talking about with the Gallifrey series, shall we? Weapon of choice, he says. Fronting a series with Lala Ward and Louise Jameson is so intimidating to the other spin-offs. I'm not sure why they even bothered. Is that fair?
What were the other spin-offs?
Well, at this point, there aren't really any.
Sarah Jane Smith, Dalek Empire.
They're all too scared by the sounds of it.
Yeah, they absolutely were. I said, it's a sharp, intelligent piece of writing by Alan Barnes, and the chosen regular cast share fantastic chemistry. Witty lines and characters keep the piece even, and the overall effect is a series that you want to follow with some enthusiasm. 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Weapon of choice. On to square one. A thoroughly enjoyable second instalment, one which establishes time as a dangerous and malleable force. Oh, God, he was a pretentious fuck, wasn't he? Steve Cole was an extremely undervalued author, and his best work has proven thoroughly entertaining. The plotting is rock solid and dazzles with some clever twists, and once again we're left with the impression that these stories will have consequences. 8 out of 10. Again. Oh no, I'm so embarrassed. The Inquiry. A superb script. Extremely wordy and almost flat for its first half, but coming to life with a vengeance in its conclusion. Justin Richards is the perfect writer for the Gallifrey series. Very clever stuff. With Romana furious that someone attempted to hold the Time Lords to ransom and rewrite their history, I'm eager to see what happened next. 9 out of 10.
Oh, Doco Ho's favourite so far.
I'd give it a 5 now. It sounds like he understood it.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got stupider. And then the last one, what was that called? A Blind Eye. How could Alan Barnes and Gary Russell be responsible for perhaps the greatest travesty in the Doctor Who canon, Yeah, you know I'm talking about Zagreus. And then follow it up with something as intelligent, clever, twisted, and heartbreakingly climactic as this. It beggars belief. I love the spoilt bitch fascist sissy Pollard. I love the timey-wimey madness with the two Torvalds. I love Romana's bossy angry tirade. And I really love the truth about Andred. I was gripped from the first moment to the last. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
So I was super impressed back then.
I would take Zagreus over any of these.
Oh,
Madness.
Mark?
oh, it's close. It's very close.
Zagreus is great.
That is very close. I can't decide on that. But I did really like A Blind Eye in Square One.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I like Square One.
Well, Luke, would you care to impress us with your audacious oral?
It's like quiz time. So it's you two.
Just to be sure.
No, but seriously, it's quiz time. So it's you two, and it's whoever says it first gets the point.
Okay.
So we're going to do one question from each story. So from Weapon of Choice, there's four aliens breaking into going in to see the Timonic fusion device right at the beginning. Do you know the name of the Nekistan? The Nekistan. What is the name of the Nekistan that goes in to see it right at the beginning?
What, the character's name? Is it a weird space name?
Character's name. Yeah.
It's not
But it's not Baruch, because that's the moaning host.
I'm never going to get this in a million years. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
It's Scragbite.
I don't remember that at all.
How do you not remember Scragbite?
Scragbite? What mother would name their child Scragbite?
Okay, we have mentioned this tonight. So, Square One, what story of the main range does it reference?
Bang Bang Boom. No.
Bang bang
No,
boom.
sorry. I thought no. Okay.
What
Story
what
of the main range?
Yeah, what story in the main range does it reference?
Apocalypse Element.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of conference stuff.
We talked about it before.
Twice, in fact.
We've never mentioned Bang Bang a Boom.
No, I did.
You
I
mentioned
mentioned Bang Bang Boom.
Oh, did you?
Look, Romana don't say it though.
Okay, with the inquiry. So the prototype Timonic fusion device was actually under a project name. Do you know what the project name was? Northern and Braxiatel are working on project.
Oh, hang on, I've got it in my notes.
No, Project.
It's not Infinity, that's Dalek Empire. Project Lazarus, no, that's The Forge. Project Time.
No, you're out. You don't. I'm gonna Project Alpha.
How boring.
That.
Is that all you could come up with, Justin Richards?
And then a blind eye. What is the name of Sissy's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend?
Oh, she says it loads because it's the Torvald character.
Yeah, what's his name?
Yeah, it's the one that's on the train.
Is it something Von? Something he's like Eric Von? No.
Oh, I've got to give it to Mark for that. It's Eric. Yeah.
Eric!
Oh, no Von, but
It's also One Apiece.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So we
it's a
need a
draw.
tiebreaker. No, we need. Do you want a tiebreaker?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
go on.
Who requests a little dance from our favourite companion Leela in Square One? What's his name?
Oh, that fat bloke.
Yeah.
That fat alien. She calls him Fat One, doesn't she?
Oh,
Does that count, Fat One?
No, but it's quite sort of the rhythm of.
Fatuous? Fatty Bum Bum?
No, because he's the one that kills the girl.
Oh, I don't know his name. Can't think of his
Flint
name.
Speck or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'll give you it. It's Flink Stab.
Yes!
What a great call that is.
Flint Speck.
Well, Flint Speck.
I'm sorry that was all names. It was all names, wasn't it? I'm
No, for a
terrible with names.
For a very serious series, that was a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, when the inquiry was that she had punched you up at the beginning.
Well, there we go. Gallifrey Series 1.
You made it. Well done.
And I think definitely when I sat down to talk about this tonight, I was like, over and out, mic drop, Gallifrey's done. But your passion and your enthusiasm for not just this series but the upcoming ones. I'm back for series 2. If you'll have me back, I'm back.
Series 2 is
It's great.
is better than Series 1.
You've definitely piqued my interest and about where this goes. And sort of talking through it, I think definitely you are right as well. If I was to re-listen to this, I think I'd like it more. Just talking through it has made it better.
There we go. That's good.
That's the first time we've achieved that on Finish Big. Well, where are we going next?
Well, yes, I will let you know what we're doing next. So we're back to 2000 AD next time.
Oh, Judge Dredd, yes, my
Judge
favourite.
Dredd. So we're doing 4 stories from that, which are called Jihad,
Oh, that sounds controversial.
War Crimes,
Oh, that's the one everyone says is the best one.
For King and Country,
For King and Country.
and Preemptive Revenge.
Oh my god. They're massive melodramatic titles, aren't they?
Yeah. So we have enjoyed 2000 AD. So we'll see how they compare.
Do you know what it is about them, Luke? Is they're so divorced from Doctor Who. I think they was just so refreshed that they could break all the Doctor Who rules.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a mad, sprawling universe. It's rude, it's funny, it's silly. Oh, it's great. It's not bad. It's good.
I won't listen to them, but I'll listen to your Finish Big on them.
Thank you.
There we go.
Well, we're better out with the usual.
We better go. Yes, so thank you very much for joining us, Luke.
Oh,
Thank you.
as always, a feast on the eyes.
Absolutely. Blind eyes. It's been... it's been great to be on. Really fun. I'm really interested to talk through, actually.
Well, let's do the outro all together. And don't forget to finish big.
Boop, 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 boop.